Yeah, that's right. I'm continuing the song at the beginning. Hey, everybody. It's Precarious Pixels. Bob is laughing at me because he's sitting across from me, because who else would be Bob? And I, of course, am Tim. And we are Precarious Pixels. We're here to talk to you about some stuff we've watched, we've played, and some, who knows, future stuff. So first thing, we'll get to a certain Vengeance person that we've watched recently, if you haven't. And we are going to spoil some stuff, so get ready for that. Leave now if you've not watched the Batman. But first, we're going to talk about brand new game. It's been out a week? 2 weeks?
2 weeks, I guess.
2 weeks at this point. The Elden Ring.
Just Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Not the Elden Ring?
Just Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. George R.R. Martin, he's just sparing those words. Yeah, because he's like, hey, I'm not going to write the books that everybody's been anticipating. I'm just going to work on this video game.
I honestly think that he had nothing to do with this game.
Why? Why would you say that?
Well, I don't know what... Obviously, if you hear George R.R. Martin is involved in something, you're going to think, oh, it's going to have these, really interesting, political dynamics set in this medieval sort of universe.
Yeah.
No.
It's full of nightmare creatures.
It's just monsters and stuff from Dark Souls.
Yeah, and more horrifying ones, I believe.
Yeah, there's some... I don't know if they'll ever top, aside from graphically. Because graphically, you can make stuff scary. But
oh, yeah, of course. But what do you consider, the scariest monsters from...
Not scariest. The creepiest monster. It still might be... I forget what it's called. The Demon of Song, maybe?
Okay. What's it look like?
In Dark Souls 2, it is a skull-looking monster with creepy, very skinny hands, almost like skeletons, but not quite skeleton thin.
Okay.
Hands inside a frog suit that is uncrackable. You have to attack its face, which is only in the frog's mouth. And when it goes to attack you with its hands, it pries the mouth open to reach out and grab you.
Oh.
That might be just the creepiest one.
Why?
I don't know. That's Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite of their boss designs. There's some really messed up looking, as you've seen.
Yeah, there's some gnarly stuff.
But I don't know, something about that one in particular that just sticks with me.
Okay.
I guess because Dark Souls 2, a lot of the bosses were just this knight, or this king that's also a knight, or this human-esque person.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
Whereas 1 and 3 are very monstery.
Right.
There's still monsters in 2. It's just...
But it's more... Isn't the 2 have more dragons, I want to say? No.
I mean, there is a land of dragons, but they're kind of weak sauce dragons.
Oh, okay.
There's one that's just mean.
All right.
But there's definitely more dragons in... Well, I don't know about more. You fight more regular-sized or oversized dragons in Elden Ring, at least so far.
Okay.
Granted, I don't think I'm even halfway in this game.
That's true.
Because you get...
Well, all right, before we get into all that, explain the story of Elden Ring to me.
I can't.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I actually watched a video on it. I still don't get it. It's I don't know if you're in some sort of purgatory for gods or something like that, where it's oh, you're actually the children of gods, but you can get out if you get all the ruins and become the take the Elden Throne and get the Elden Ring. I have no idea.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Here's what this is. You're just fighting monsters.
You're going to fight monsters and explore. It is...
Right.
It is just Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Without the annoying weapons breaking every 3 seconds.
Right.
Which is exactly what I wanted. If that was Breath of the Wild... I had this conversation actually just yesterday with somebody about Breath of the Wild being like the game mechanic of the weapons breaking makes the game great because otherwise you're not trying different weapons. Hey, how about make the weapons fun to use and you're going to try?
Yeah.
Right? In this game, it has that. It has that mechanic. Like each weapon type,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say type there.
Okay.
Because there's tons of types.
Right.
But they feel different. Plus they have like modifiers or like there's like fire damage or bleed damage or poison.
Right.
But I can run around, as you saw, I showed Tim a video
Yes.
of me killing things with Wolverine claws.
Yes.
But I also have a sword that shoots fire.
Right.
I also have a dagger that throws blood at enemies to inflict bleed damage.
See, that's fun. And well, let's go back and like so. The first thing you're doing.
The first thing you do is you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
You get an emote called Ring.
Okay.
You wake up and the emote is just there. It's like, here, you got this. And at first I thought it was like a pre-order bonus, but I don't think it is. I think it's just the game gives you Ring.
Okay.
And then you walk out of this chapel you're in. It's a cathedral.
Yeah, which I got to say, the art style in this is very gothic. It is like, I'm trying to think which period you would call in like the Dark Ages, but very like I would say like maybe 17th century, maybe 16th century, like that medieval gothic. But also there's samurais and like other stuff like that too. But the landscape itself is some weird limbo land where there's asteroids overhead. I don't know exactly what you're looking at.
No, that's the asteroids you saw, the starry sky.
Yeah.
That's underground.
Oh, okay. Well, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, just so you know, I fought in that area. I beat the boss there.
Oh, yeah?
Or I guess in one of those areas, because I've seen another.
Okay.
That we'll come back to. But
Okay.
you walk out of this cathedral,
All right.
and the game gives you your tutorial boss,
Okay, of course.
which is a spider man. I don't know how else to explain it.
So Tom Holland shows up. He takes off his shirt.
He's a giant spider with like a man's body, but like man's arms, just 8 of them.
Okay, so it's like Spider-Man when he got his 8 arms,
But giant.
but giant.
Who also has swords in each arm.
Oh, well then it's like what's is it Kali, the Indian god of death and destruction?
Maybe, but I'll tell you what he does do.
Okay.
You can kill him. I didn't the first time or the second time. You get to get a little revenge on him later.
Okay.
A couple times.
Nice.
Because he's not a boss. He's just a boss there. In other areas, he's a mini boss. In another area, he's an area boss, but
Okay.
not like he's not important to the story aside from there. In order to kill you, and then have you wake up and do the tutorial. So the game kills you before it teaches you to play the game.
Okay.
Just so you know, that's
Okay.
the start to this game.
Okay. Now what class are you? Because there's several classes.
I have 2.
Okay.
Okay, I started with, I guess I technically have 3 because I streamed 1.
Okay.
I have.
By the way, we'll be putting the Twitch stream links in the YouTube video underneath the description, so look for that.
Okay. I have the prisoner class,
Okay.
which is the first one I started. Then I switched because I wanted to do magic,
All right.
so I switched over to astrologer.
Okay.
And on my stream, I have the thief class, who I named Sly Cooper, and made look like Nathan Drake.
Awesome.
I don't know why. I
All
was
right.
just messing around.
So which one have you played the most with?
The astrologer.
Okay.
Because I got to an area where I was getting frustrated because with my prisoner class, I was going pure bleed damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly learned there are areas of the game where things just don't bleed.
Okay.
Crystal bosses.
Okay.
So I spent probably 15 minutes fighting one boss
Right.
where it went like this. My claw attack does 2 damages.
Okay.
The initial thrust in to the spine for a backstab,
Okay.
which was 1 point of damage.
Okay.
And then the pull out, which is 14 points of damage.
Okay.
On a boss that probably had like 10,000 health.
Okay.
And in between each, I had to perfectly dodge whatever attack was coming.
Right.
Because I didn't have a 100% block shield. And I beat that boss. Because eventually, about halfway through the fight, halfway through their health, I should say, their crystal armor breaks.
Okay.
And then you can actually stun them and stab them and hurt them. But until that point, it was very frustrating. And then I fought the next crystal monster, and I was like, time for a new class.
It's like I can't do this anymore.
I'll come back because I know I can go to other areas and get different weapons and upgrade them in different ways.
Right.
But I was just like frustrated with the fact that I had chosen to do just one thing.
Right.
So then my second one has he's a dexterity and intelligence build, so like magic.
Okay.
So that when I see a crystal monster, I can still do magic damage to it because magic hurts crystal monsters.
Okay, makes sense.
Trust me. It makes sense in some worlds.
In some world. And definitely in the Elden Ring world. Now, one thing I will say, have you noticed that there's a lot of repeating monsters or any kind of thing like that? Because sometimes I feel like big open world games that have like enemies in it, eventually it's like almost like you're seeing like the same kind of enemy over and over again, and you're just like almost like grinding on them until you can like upgrade. Is there enough difference in characters? I mean, you've shown me like some of the weirder ones, but like when you're just like a normal like running across the landscape, what do you see? Is there anything that you see a lot of, or is it just like still like random encounters?
Well, that's a good question.
Okay.
You see in areas a lot of the what I would call the peons. Like,
Okay.
So if you're in the first area, okay, I'll have to explain what this means after, but the first area you'll see a lot of like regular soldier type guys, and then bats.
Okay.
Okay, and then like dogs.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it, aside from when you're in dungeons or like boss rooms, or you're just talking about like non-hostile
Okay.
things, animals.
You're right. And is there any other like this isn't like anything like the Witcher world where it's just like you run into like villages or anything like that? Are there any other things in
There's
this?
villages.
Oh, there are villages?
Yeah, but everybody's pretty much dead.
Oh, okay.
Or
A monster.
they give you like missions, or they're a monster.
Okay.
But each area you go to, whether it's a different town, it's a different shack, there's usually something to find there. So, an example of that would be, I was wandering around and I saw a boat on the lake in the second area.
Okay.
And I have to explain what the area differences are after.
Okay.
But I saw this boat, and like it was kind of semi-transparent.
All right.
And I was like, that's weird. It's like a ghost boat. I'm going to go check this out. I get closer, I'm riding up on my horse, and the thing is hostile. And it's a boss that was just chilling on this river in like a flooded town.
Okay.
And what he does is, as he's fighting you, raises skeletons from the ground
Always.
who come up and try and attack you. And that was my first experience with skeletons. Fun thing about them, you knock them down, they don't die.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But if you stab like this black magic orb that keeps them alive after, which I didn't realize right away, then they die. Or use magic or fire or whatever to kill it.
Okay.
But I was fighting him and I was getting mobbed by these guys, and then I figured out how to do that, and then he just teleported away.
Oh, okay. So you
and
don't
to a different area and started spawning more of those. But after I killed him, I found an item there that upgraded. I think that upgraded my amount of spell casts.
Okay.
Because before I could only hold one spell or two on my astrologer.
All right. And is that because he's a different kind of... Because he's that class that he can
I
only...
guess because he's a sorcerer.
Okay.
I think that's where I found that. Otherwise, I found a weapon there.
Okay.
But just exploring. So it's an entire town that I thought was going to be non-hostile.
Right.
Because some of them are. Like, you go to one house and a woman gives you the summoning jellyfish. So, like, you can summon a jellyfish that floats in the air like a ghost.
Okay.
But it shoots, like, black ink. Also poisons bosses or enemies.
Nice.
Which is great, because it's damage over time.
Yeah.
If it can stay alive.
So it also can be attacked as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll focus on it, too. As you saw, because I showed you a video, of summon where
the wolf
wolves
pack.
were being summoned
The wolf
in.
pack.
And they were being attacked as opposed to you.
Right.
Unless you bring that focus back to you, because you can aggro it and let them do stuff.
Right.
But I'd recommend trying to stay away from bosses.
No, it makes sense.
But the areas. Okay. So here's where it gets really interesting. The first time I played it, I was riding past this castle, or up to this castle, and you get your horse from this lady, the maiden. Because before this point in the game,
right,
it's like 3 checkpoints in. You don't even have a horse. You just run.
Yeah. And it's a pretty open area, too.
It's big.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm exploring, and I see a dungeon, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I go in. I get to this next thing, and it's like, you got to go up to this castle, and the checkpoint right by the castle is a big gate. So I ride through there, and I'm like, oh, cool, there's guys shooting arrows at me. Let me go up and get them. Giant drops down from above. Messes up my day.
Yeah.
And that taught me to not just hang out there. So I ride my horse right past it because I can't kill it yet.
Gotcha.
Unless I'm avoiding all the guys shooting arrows at me, because there's like 6 at the same time. Just know that's a nightmare. So I ride past, and I'm like, I find a checkpoint, and I keep going the first time I play. I see a castle on my left, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'll go there. And then I find a shortcut over a bridge. So I follow the shortcut. It takes me to the second area.
Okay.
I could conceivably have bypassed the entire first and second gatekeeping boss of the game.
Right.
By just going to this second area, which is an entirely new map that adds on. So you start out the game, you have a map the size of, say, this piece of paper.
Okay, we're talking about an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, there's all these cool stuff you're finding, and you find map pieces in the areas.
Right.
To, like, show you how big the map is. And you can't grow that.
Right.
But then, when you go into the second area, you open your map, and now the size of that paper has doubled.
Okay.
And it's just like, what happened? I thought that was the whole game. And then I found another area.
Okay.
The game is massive. But this third area,
right,
I only found because I opened a chest.
Okay.
Kid you not. That transported me there. It was a trap chest.
Oh, so it was like... Oh, okay, so it was like just a teleporting chest. So you open it, you expect an item, but no, we're going to send you to somewhere else.
Yep. A cave filled with crystal workers that I couldn't hurt.
Okay.
That I had to run away from that kept killing me the first time I played.
Oh, but you can't hurt them?
Not with a bleed weapon.
Oh, okay.
Like, every time I was stabbing them, it was like 1/30th of their damage.
What did you
Unless
do?
It was a
Why
backstab.
were they mad at you?
I existed.
Oh, okay.
And then on top of that, you have like almost like locust monsters that shoot needles at you.
Well, there's a new nightmare for me.
But like a wave of needles.
Oh.
So it's not just one, you have to dodge all of them. And they track.
Oh, they track you?
They track. So you have to get behind something.
So it's like
dodge.
a heat-seeking missile, but of like a bunch of little needles that shoot at you?
Yep, and it's from above, so you can't even stab it.
Ugh. Okay.
Okay. So that nightmare.
Right.
I eventually went back and dominated that area.
Gotcha.
When I knew how to kill things. But when you get out of that cave, it's a land that you've seen like normal grass and like beaches.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the first area.
Right.
Second area is Flood/Poisonville,
Okay.
which is just Liurna of the Lake, something like that. The third area that I saw, but really the second that I had seen that wasn't just me dying,
Right.
is almost organic. Imagine if the ground looked like it was living.
So it's like you're inside a giant body kind of look?
Sort of, but mixed with like veins coming out of the ground. It's gross.
That is super gross.
And then you see the dogs there.
What do the dogs look like?
T-Rexes.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Skeletal T-Rex dogs.
See, that sounds like fun to me. Because then it's like, hey, buddy, we can be friends.
Yeah, as the fur is dropping
Just be
off
like,
them.
clever girl.
They're not friends.
Okay.
They're not friends. And then dragons.
Cool.
There's just a giant dragon in that area with little baby dragons all around it. But the little baby dragons are the size of boss dragons in the first area.
Okay. So, that's fun.
Yeah. So just know that's the area I'll probably do later. But there's so they call the actual carry the story forward areas
Right.
legacy dungeons
Okay.
because they feel like a Dark Souls area.
Okay.
It's a castle with cool shortcuts that you unlock and cool NPCs you can meet that tell you, hey, take the route through this way because if you open the gate, they're going to kill you and I hate my boss because he's a guy that works there.
Okay.
He's like, really hate my boss, man. But come back to what he's doing the whole time.
Okay.
When you finally kill the second boss, but the first boss, his boss he's talking about, Gotrek.
Right.
When you kill him, this guy shows up and all he's doing is stepping on over and over, like stomping, on Godric's head.
Godric's already dead at this point.
You've killed him.
Okay.
His second form, you chop off one of his arms.
Okay.
He pulls a dragon head off of because he's Gotrek the grafted.
Oh, because his
back is all like grafted heads and parts of his enemies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
It's gross. He pulls a dragon head over his left arm. Kid you not, fire.
Oh, so she
Breathes fire with his left arm.
Okay.
It's the craziest enemy. Once you beat him, you see that guy. It turns out that peasant, every time you die, he takes 10% of your souls. If I killed him, or runes, they call them in this game.
Oh, yeah, runes.
If I killed him, I would have gotten all that stuff back. I didn't. I didn't even realize it.
That stinks.
But now I'm going to.
Now you're going to go kill that guy.
I might go back.
It's like, you hate your boss, you're going to hate me a lot more. Because I'm about to end it.
But he helps you. He tells you to take this shortcut. Because if you go with the gate that he can open for you, because he will open it. Imagine 12 ballistas pointed right at that gate.
Okay.
That just fire over and over and over. And if you try and rush past...
Right.
Giant dog monster.
Oh, okay. So no fun.
No. And in that area, guarding those ballistas is a troll-looking enemy.
Okay.
And a giant, a giant on the stairs past it on the way to Gotrek. You could shortcut boss rush right to that boss if you can make it past all that stuff. Or you can go the smarter way,
right?
Which you'll probably die a few times during. But fighting all the rest of the castle, including that tutorial boss who's just hanging out in the castle's dining hall.
Okay.
Not a boss. Just a guy now. That's just a guy you fight now.
Okay.
Once there. And then you go back to the cathedral later.
Right.
And you fight him as a area boss, we'll say.
Okay. So, you're having fun with this game.
This game is awesome.
Okay.
Just in every area being different, I kid you not. All the bosses feel different. There's some that are similar names.
Right.
Completely different styles. I have on my YouTube channel the boss that you saw, which
Right.
looks like a stone cat
Right.
that shoots fire out of its tail,
Right.
and has a sword attack that is just creepy. There's no way to explain it other than creepy.
Yes.
It leaps up in the air, it bashes down, but every move feels unnatural.
Yes. Which is just purposely stuff that they put in there to make it even creepier. Like, I haven't seen like one thing that is like not a creep monster.
Yeah, there's nothing normal about their design.
Like you move normally and stuff, but the monsters you fight do not move in any kind of like particular natural way.
And your horse is a ghost. Like, everything's strange.
Yeah, which is awesome that you can just you can just summon your horse whenever you need it, which is nice. Ghost horse
Ghost horse.
should be in everything. Ghost horse. But yeah, so you would recommend this?
Oh yeah, as long as you don't mind difficult.
Yes. Well, I think if you're getting into one of his games, it's never. I don't think there's ever been an easy one.
No.
There might be ones that are maybe less difficult than others, but definitely always kind of hard. I mean, that's just the style of game that he makes. They're always that way.
I mean, old stuff. You actually played some of their old stuff.
What was the?
Tenchu.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, like that stuff was fun. But even that kind of had some difficulty in certain areas.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like a totally different thing. They've kind of found this weird voice for themselves. Kind of like a weird fantasy, medieval,
But they did.
scary,
they've done different.
creepy monsters. I don't know.
They've done Victorian.
Yeah.
Then they did feudal Japan
Yeah.
with Sekiro.
Right.
But it's always just creepy monsters. Like that one, there's an ape you fight that you sever its head, and then it uses that head as a weapon against you.
Yeah. And that's I'm trying to think. That's the one where you have like the arm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some creepy stuff in that too. But it's good. I mean, it's never not. I'll just say this: whatever their designers are doing, it's never boring. It's always something interesting. Like even like the NPCs you meet, like the pot guy. The pot, literally a big clay pot with arms and legs.
That talks to you and asks
It
for
talks
help.
to you, and it's just like that's genius. Why not?
There's another guy I met who you hear him calling, and I probably wouldn't even known if I didn't have subtitles on, but I always put subtitles on in games I play.
Of course.
And he was somehow transformed into a tree. So you have to find where he is and roll into him. But he doesn't know he's been turned into a tree because he's been that way for so long.
Wow.
So he's like, help me. Can't you see me? And he's nowhere. And you just start rolling through, and then he's like, oh, thanks. Yeah. And then you see him again later, and you find out his whole storyline is that his mother was like a great seamstress,
Yeah.
and he wants to be a seamster.
Okay.
And then you help him by killing the guy that stole his sewing needle. And then you kill the guy, and then he can basically, his entire storyline is just so you can do what they call fashion souls, which is look however you want to, but still have the abilities of the other armor.
Oh, okay.
So you can have an armor set that you like, always look like that, but be using a different set.
The different. That's
Apparently.
That's very cool. That's such a good idea. Because
But-
why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's one. There's another where you meet a girl on the way to this castle, and she's like, please help, can you deliver this letter to my father? He won't leave his post. You
Right.
go to the castle, kill a bunch of things that are there. Insane things. It's in the first area, so there are bats, but there's other really creepy looking like gargoyle men that fly.
Oh.
Yeah. And they just mess with you. And then there's a boss there that's basically a lion guy. He's like Leonard, I think they call him. They use lion in the word.
Okay.
Um,
It's not the guy who's in charge of the island of misfit toys.
He's not.
Does he have wings?
He does not. No.
Okay.
But he does have a rush attack that's pretty brutal. But you kill him, And you go back and you talk to that guy because he won't leave until you kill Leonard.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh, thank you. I'll meet you back where you've met my daughter. Thank you for helping me." You go back and she's dead.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
He's like, "I'll never stop until I find out who killed her,
Wow.
or until I get vengeance on her, or for her, I should say." And then I don't know where that's gonna go. But
So-
yeah,
They might pop up again. So we'll check in more after you've played this a few more times. But all right, very briefly, there's some news that actually just not news, but rather the first trailer dropped for the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus show. Looks interesting. Looks pretty much like a movie. I think it looks even better than The Mandalorian at this point. But
that's because you're partial to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I love me some Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it looks like they definitely... It's going to be some stuff, of course, on Tatooine. And then some stuff maybe on Coruscant. Maybe it's like he's going on a rescue mission. Like the whole thing is like, why would he leave his hiding place on Coruscant or on Tatooine for any reason? And it's about pretty much stuff that they've gone into a little bit on some of the cartoon shows, but I don't think they've ever done like live action. Like they've gone in, like Fallen Order has had some of the Inquisitors, Star Wars Rebels has had some of the Inquisitors as kind of introduction. It seems like that's what they've been doing a lot lately is taking pretty much stuff that Dave Filoni came up with in animation and are now bringing it into live action. So Ahsoka Tano, Cad Bane, some stuff with like the clone troopers, I think, and
The Dark Troopers are a thing, right?
yeah, the Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers actually were introduced in which game was it? I want to say Dark Empire, I think, was the first introduction of the Dark Troopers, and then they've subsequently shown up in other places. But this is like the first, like the...
They're definitely in Fallen Order.
They're definitely in Fallen Order. And of course they showed up in The Mandalorian as like the big one. And they've kept them consistent. They are canon and they've kept them in canon. So it looks, I think it's great. I think it's like really good. He's brought more and more stuff in that is like the expanded universe stuff that has not been used in like stuff before. So pretty sure what's his name, Grand Admiral Thrawn was thrown around in The Mandalorian, and that is kind of what Ahsoka is probably going to be doing in her show, is trying to track him down.
He's the blue guy?
He's the blue guy, and he was introduced like I think when not Dark Empire, but I think one of the book series. Like he's shown up in the book series and a few of the graphic novels. I think Heir to the Empire.
Okay.
And that is kind of like, these are the guys who are like the diehard Empire people, like Gus Van Sant, Carlos Esposito.
Oh yeah. You're talking Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. Like he's a diehard Empire guy who they've now captured or whatever, but he's part of that group or whatever that's under Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's trying to bring back the Empire, but without the Sith basically in charge. And I'm sure that's going to come in later, but I don't think that'll probably be covered in Obi-Wan, because I think I don't know if he shows up quite yet. Might be later. But this looks amazing. It looks like the Inquisitors look great. They look like they do in Fallen Order. They have a little bit of... Because the animation style that they used in Rebels was a little simpler. This is definitely like they're taking more of the the Fallen Order look, I think, more than anything. Which is... I'm waiting for Kyle Kestis might show up at some point.
I mean, he's an actual actor, so it's possible.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking at this point, we were talking about this is how many years after Revenge of the Sith? 5?
Well, this looks like, it's 5. It's probably about the same timeline. But
Right.
the problem is that kid's aging, too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking he's probably going to he might show up in the Ahsoka show, but maybe they're going to show an introduction to him as a little kid. And maybe this is where Baby Yoda comes into play. Of maybe Obi-Wan was the guy who found him and got him off of Coruscant. Like, it could be anything. You don't know. But it definitely looks good. I can't wait. May is not that far off, so.
No. Well, 2.5 months.
I know.
I think it starts.
I figured they would do May the 4th, but I guess May 25th was, I guess, what they're going with.
Yeah, they'll probably do another trailer for May 4th.
Right. I think that's probably, I'm trying to think, what's the big show that's before that? Moon Knight. And that starts March 30th. So that's probably covers April for them. And then you've got Obi-Wan starting.
I'm going to have to watch Moon Knight.
I can't wait. I think he's perfect. He's like the perfect person to play it. The trailers I've seen look great. So that's going to be a good show, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. But we'll have to, we'll wait on more speculation and stuff to come out about Obi-Wan. But we saw a movie.
We did.
And again, spoilers. Major spoilers. If you have not seen The Batman, you can go watch The Batman 3.5 hours later. Felt like 10. You can come back and hear what we're going to talk about it. So, you've been warned. The Batman. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It might be... It's definitely top 3 for me for Batman movies.
Absolutely.
It's in contention.
Yeah, contention.
For my favorite. It might be eventually. I have to watch it again first. But.
That is going to be the thing. And I'm still heard they're keeping with the 45 days and it's going to be on Max. So it was definitely worth seeing it in the theater. That was the big thing. I was just like, don't go to the theater a lot, but I'm going to go see this in the theater because I have to. It's something that needs a big screen, and it delivered. Spectacle, the story, the obvious influences from like 70s type movies to just the comic book references, like all of that was in there. Like they kept this felt like the most, like somebody had said, and I think this holds true, the Nolan movies put Batman in the real world. Like how to make this stuff seem like it's actually possible. This felt like making Gotham real. Like this doesn't feel like Chicago. This doesn't feel like New York. It feels like its own city, and has its own influence. Even the architecture, like a lot of it. I know there is a lot of stuff that was shot in England.
There was London, but they also, Gotham Square Garden.
Yeah, yeah. It
and
is.
They have that Times Square looking shot.
Right, but it didn't look like a normal Times Square. Like it was definitely felt like dirtier. Like this felt like a dirty city. Like every part of it,
well,
felt. Yeah, like it felt like a city that was falling into like a lot of ruin.
That's the thing that always bothered me about the Nolan Gotham.
Yeah, because
it just looks clean.
It's clean.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, because they did shoot in real world stuff. They shot in Chicago. They shot in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
For the third one,
like a lot. Shot in Philly.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't look clean.
Yeah. Well, there's clean parts of Philly too.
Sure.
Yeah, but this felt like even just like everything felt as if it's like we're taking you actually we're making Gotham real, but like the comic book Gotham. Like this is like the most like it just felt like its own thing. Like you won't mistake this for any other city than this. But what do you got to say?
No, I only had a couple of issues with it, and that was I think it took some bad cues from the Snyder Cut.
Okay.
All right. Bear with me on that.
Okay.
The slow motion, crank up the pop song stuff.
Okay.
That's Snyder. Like that looks like Snyder had a hand in that.
Right.
Almost. because there's a few scenes like that, and they're not necessary.
Right.
I guess they're to build tension.
Yes.
But the scene where at the beginning the clown gang, which I guess are the fans of the Joker.
Yes. Or they could be, and this is a really deep cut. They could be an influence of another gang in Gotham called, I think they're called like the TKs or something along those lines. But I'm betting it's supposed to be maybe a Joker reference, but because one of them had the T's have like a cross in the middle, and there was one gang member who had that like on his makeup, and I was like, so maybe it could have been that, and that's from. I've only seen them, I think, in maybe one book, and maybe they reference them in Batman Beyond. It's like the only other place I've seen them, and that is like they wear white face makeup. But who knows? It could just be also a Joker influence thing.
But there's just a few of those scenes.
Yeah.
That they just feel a little much.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, the only other issue I had with it was I didn't necessarily like Catwoman's design. It's strange.
It is yeah. The not like it's like
she's not Catwoman.
Right.
But she has some of the gear. She has like the leather outfit.
Right.
But her ski mask is cat ears. They could have just done without that. They could have just given her the ski mask.
I did kind of wonder why they didn't just go with like something along those lines.
Or the helmet. Like she's wearing the helmet half the time. It would be better at hiding her identity.
Right. But I get that they still want to kind of throw in something that gives the Catwoman silhouette, which I get, like giving the little ear things on her ski mask, which is fine. But I was just like, they could have gone like full on. It could have been like she was like, well, this guy wears a bat mask, I can wear a cat mask. Why not?
Maybe, but I don't think she even cared.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem fazed by him.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was your other?
I don't know. Oh, she has the whip. She has the whip randomly.
Well, was it a whip or was it a chain?
No, it's a whip at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because you see it around her shoulder.
Oh, okay.
While later on, she has somebody tied up with it.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't think that. I thought the one part when she uses it, it's like it looked like a bike chain.
There's a grapple hook at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
But she has a whip.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's strange.
It is strange.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, she had a great origin story for this, which is almost
the Long Halloween.
Almost the Long Halloween.
Almost. And when the scratch on the face.
Yeah, that's just
that's from year one.
It's also from Long Halloween.
Well, they reference it in Long Halloween, but I think that when she actually does it, I think it's in year one.
But I guess it doesn't matter, because yeah.
Yeah, I was just like I thought he'd be around a little bit longer. Another spoiler, but it definitely
they kill one really important character in this movie.
Yes.
To the Batman universe.
And also this was something that I watched something and they pointed this out, but there's a part in the first like 30 minutes where you walk outside and you see the Iceberg Lounge, which is an actual reference to a club that the Penguin runs eventually.
It's all the Arkham games as well.
Arkham games. It's been in Batman animated series. It's been referenced in like the comics. It's like, of course, why not? But there's a part where there's a hotel across from it that I think it's like in the first 10 minutes or whatever, where you see somebody walk out of the club and it pans up and you see, and this is big spoilers, the Riddler himself sitting in the window with his light on. There's only one light on, and it's a hotel with a green neon sign, and it's like him photographing from that window. So what happens at the very end not the very end, but close to the end of the movie, is referenced right there at the beginning. So it's like a whole setup to like that point of what happens. which is crazy. It's like, so it wasn't like random. It was always planned that he puts it right up front of the beginning, that you can like zoom in on it and you could see him like sitting in the window.
And not only that, but that's probably the photograph that starts everything.
Exactly.
Or one of them.
One of them. Because it's like a couple things that happen. And this has got some creepy Seven/Saw.
They were definitely going for 7.
They were definitely going for 7, especially the fact that, like in 7, it's always raining.
Yeah.
Always raining. And somebody also talked about this, the car chase scene, it's raining. And that is so hard to do on film, to do a raining scene and a car chase at the same, like it's hard to shoot that, because it's like you're dealing with something where it's like your vehicles need that kind of tread to like do those kind of tricks and stuff.
Yeah, but they did a lot of close up in the car shots.
Right. Yeah. Which I liked. I thought it, like, the car chase felt good. He said his major influence on it was the right at the beginning is like make it feel like Stephen King's Christine, where it's like the car is coming to get you kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely
feels like that.
Oh, the part when when I see him like start the car and you see that blue flame, but he like starts to just like intimidate them with just like cranking it and just just slowly like inching forward, and they're just staring at him. I'm just like, why are you staring at this obviously monster that is about to like run you down? But yeah. I don't know what car the Penguin was driving in, but I would like to get that car because it flies. It was like they took like a Matchbox car and just threw it down the road. It flips 1,000,000,000 times and he doesn't die. Yeah, I'd like to have that car that he is driving in, because I'm just like, no.
I didn't think I was gonna like him as Penguin.
I didn't even recognize him as Penguin.
Well, you know, there was so much press about it going in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have recognized him. You can barely. You can barely.
He hides the voice. The prosthetics look amazing. He almost kind of like, somebody had said that he looked a little bit like De Niro in The Untouchables a little bit. And I could definitely see that.
Well, it makes sense.
He was like, oh, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You're everything they said. And I love that. And he just... The other part where he's just still doing his drug deals like right in front of him. Like, I was just like, wow, okay. Do you not care that he's dealing drugs okay, all right, fine.
Well, I guess Batman has bigger fish to fry at that point.
At that point, yeah.
He's trying to find out who the murderer that killed the mayor is.
Yes. So let's actually start.
Yeah.
So just credits, the Batman. Just no lead in.
With music, like pop music.
Well, I thought it was actually...
Does it go into Ave Maria after?
I think it's Ave Maria.
It starts with that? Because I remember that like the audience laughed.
Yeah.
At the music that was playing with the Batman logo.
Right.
Because it's so... It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. But then it's just like, oh, okay, now I get where this whole thing...
And you're going to know why that music... Or what that music links to later. And it's just... Oh my god, now it's scary.
Yes. And this does one of my favorite things, is instead of Martha, being just kind of like a random person who's married to a Wayne, they actually make reference to something that's been in the comics a little bit that they've retconned, is that she is a daughter of one of the other old families, which is Arkham.
Yeah.
And that's the whole Arkham Asylum, and that maybe... Thomas Wayne started Arkham Asylum and named it after her because she was in and out of mental facilities, and maybe he didn't like the way they were set up. But then, obviously, what happened afterwards is they
something else.
They get turned into like a worse place for these people to get help. But I kind of like the idea of that, which is that she's like another old family in Gotham too. So it's like the Waynes are one old family, the Arkhams are another old family. Even the Penguin himself is a Cobblepot, which is from an old family too. I don't know if they're ever going to bring that in, but it would be kind of interesting to kind of like go in that direction too. But I think those are like the three. I think those are the three families that kind of like started Gotham itself, like back in the days when it was founded.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. It's like, yeah, she's an Arkham. Like, make Martha Arkham. But adding like a little bit of more of a wrinkle. And best thing, no origin. I don't want to see pearls falling. I don't want to see close-ups of guns and hearing 2 gunshots. I don't need to see him as a little kid getting, like, we've seen it a million times. We don't need it anymore. Just like the same thing they did with Spider-Man. Just he's Batman. Let's go. Let's do a story. And it's a great detective story.
And it's still 3 hours.
And it's still 3 hours because yeah, why not?
Yeah, I really thought I was gonna have to watch the walk out of the opera or the Zorro movie again.
It's true, but then, funny enough, somebody was I think it's like a little meme going around now. They tracked back what movies would be going on, and I think it's 2001 would be the year if they're going by the actual time frame that Batman is now and how young he would have been and what movies would have been playing. So whatever movies were playing in 2001, was there a Zorro movie?
I'm sure probably the Banderas one. No, that would have been 90s.
90s.
The second one, maybe
the second one, or I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, but interesting that they but good that they didn't have to do any of that stuff. And you meet Alfred. I think Andy Serkis does a great job.
Except for that's the other problem I have with that one scene.
What? Which?
They try and set up who killed. They don't, but then they do. They do the whole speech about who killed Thomas and Martha.
Right.
And he's like, or it could have been somebody else. Like, why even say it?
Yeah.
Why even have that scene? I think that was another just like fan servicey thing, but not really.
I think so. And then it's like also it still gives it what I always liked was that he never finds out who exactly.
Good.
But like in the books they do make reference to it's like Joe Chill and the reasons why he did it or he was working for a mob boss maybe, or maybe it wasn't involved with that. But but the part that was in the books, I remember this is like from even like in the 40s or 50s version, there was a thing where Batman's father did stitch up a gangster.
Yeah.
And then that gangster might have actually asked Joe Chill to kill him. Like it's never really kind of like fully thought out. But yeah. So it's interesting that they kind of like they play with it and he tries to kind of like push him in a direction that's. And also the weirdest thing is the knocking on the door. Like, you know who I am? And he does it twice. The first time he knocks, it's like him as Batman, and it's the twins, and he beats the crap out of a bunch of people.
He certainly does.
He does. Oh, man, are these fight scenes brutal. And then the second time, it's like him as, Bruce Wayne. He's like, you know who I am? And then the twins are there again, and they're like, hey, you see who this guy is? We love this guy. I'm just like, it's just so weird, and I'm just like, Batman doesn't knock on a door. Batman, he sneaks into the building and then beats the crap out of everybody.
I guess, but a place like that is like a fortress.
That's true.
How is he going to get in?
I don't know.
Just knock in and then beat people up.
Detective mode. He just switches on detective mode. He's got those...
He doesn't have that.
Oh, he doesn't? What are those contacts?
He has cameras. That's about it.
But I do like... I thought that was a good scene, too, was when he gives the contacts to her, and he's just like... It's like, no, go back. Go back and talk to him. I didn't get an ID. Like, that stuff. I like that a lot. I thought that was a good scene. And she's like, I don't want to talk to these guys.
Yeah. I think you barely see him out of the suit.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that. It's a lot of Batman. And I do love that him and Gordon are like, they're just like buddy cops in a weird way. And I love the part where they walk into, I guess it is Arkham. The orphanage. They walk into the orphanage. And he's like, no guns. And he's like, no guns is your thing. I'm a cop, man. It's like, Like, I'm not wearing body armor. You can. That's fine.
Oh my god, his armor is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. He's getting like blasted by shotguns and AR-15s at close range, and is just taking it like an animal. Learn to sneak around, buddy.
No, he does not sneak.
He does not sneak. He just walks straight into it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's a completely different Batman than Bale's Batman that way too.
Yeah, like he's not like doing the ninja stuff. He's not like
No, he's just punching.
He's just punching through and just breaking people's arms and noses and whatever else. But yeah,
That's. I wonder if that'll change with the next one, with the pivot they're obviously making.
obviously, I think that's, but it's kind of like a weird thing. Like Batman isn't really a symbol of hope the way they're trying to set him up. I'm just like, yeah, you might not want to be vengeance all the time. You might want to pull back a little bit and not have like that was like the scene at the very beginning makes the most sense of like he's beating this gang up that was attacking this guy or mugging him, and then after the gang is gone, the guy says, "Please don't hurt me," to him because everyone's afraid of him, even if you're a good person or whatever.
That's the way it should be.
Right. Maybe. I don't know.
But they want him to not be that.
They want him to, carry children out of flood zones.
Yeah.
Which was weird. I was just like, there was the first scene at the very end that was in daylight and not raining. And, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird seeing him. But I did like when he lights up the flare and, like, walks over.
That's a good shot.
That is a great shot. A really good shot. Just, like, the red light hitting him. And then the kid comes out and he helps the kid.
And everybody being scared of him, including the mayor incumbent, I guess.
Yeah. Because I don't think the mayor liked him. Like, she was like, we vigilantes. I don't think we need a vigilante in our streets kind of thing. I think that was something said in one of her speeches.
I think it's been proven that she does.
And also that he needs to stop just being Batman all the time. He needs to be Bruce Wayne. And he needs to fix the... if he would have probably been on the... what was I forget the...
recovery. They call it something else.
Yeah, but like the help, like the program that basically the mob took over, and then the police were in on as well. If he had been paying more attention to that stuff, he might have been able to fix it from the inside. It's just like it just goes to show. I think that they're trying to establish that, and I think the next movie is probably going to be about the challenge of dealing with that and trying to be Bruce Wayne. And just wanting to punch people in the face because working within the system is difficult. It's probably the most difficult thing. It's like, yeah, I can't just punch this person in the face and make them do what I want. I need to, build up, a rapport with them and actually be involved in this stuff. Like, and pay attention.
I like that movie less because I see him out of the suit less.
I'm sure.
Or more, I mean.
But you really don't get to see what his Bruce Wayne is.
I know. I was fine with that.
I was fine with that too, at least for this movie. I want to see it maybe a little bit more in the next one, depending on what their direction is.
Bruce Wayne is very pale.
Yes, it's like, which is also kind of a funny thing. He shows up at a funeral and people are just like, "Oh my God, it's Bruce Wayne." We never see this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That was always the thing in the comics.
Yeah. But I did the whole last fight in the arena. I thought it was decent, but I almost felt like it almost didn't need it. Like it almost had wrapped up completely, like him going to see the Riddler and stuff, and having that little like conversation that they have. To have that last thing with like the seawall, like bombs and all that stuff, I was just like, do you need all of this? I guess you do. It almost felt like, did Batman actually contribute to stopping the Riddler at any point, other than to stop them from shooting the mayor? Because he did everything he wanted to do. This is almost kind of reminds me of the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing. If Indiana Jones isn't in that movie, everything still happens the same way. It just would happen slower. Does this movie kind of think the same thing? If Batman's not in this, the Riddler does everything he wants anyways, other than having the guys he was working with shoot the mayor.
Well, and everybody else there.
And everybody else there.
What was the purpose of that? Because the mayor could be bought, but why everybody else?
Yeah, I think it was maybe just to kill as many of the corrupt people as they could, or what they considered corrupt people.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What I do know is they did imply that he might be also Hush.
That is kind of a thing too.
Which I thought was strange.
Yeah. I thought that was maybe just an Easter egg to put in there, but the reporter's name is Elliot. I think I don't remember his first name, but it wasn't the same as
Edward.
But I think Tommy Elliot is like that might be his father or grandfather. Probably his father, I think. Who's like a doctor who later becomes Hush and all that stuff. It'd be great if this goes into a third movie and it's Hush. That would be kind of crazy, because then it would be setting it up from them. And somebody even made the reference of the thing he injects himself with, the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Might be a reference to Venom, which is the drug that
the
Bane,
Joker toxin.
Bane uses to.
So does Joker. He uses it in the Arkham games.
Right.
And that's what kills him.
Right. But it started out as something that Batman developed in a series, I think, called, Venom. And it's basically he couldn't lift something, he wasn't strong enough to lift something, and he was like, oh, I'm pushed to peak physical condition, I've got to come up with something that will enable me to do that, and he starts taking this drug. But obviously it has its side effects, and then it's like him trying to beat it, and then later it's used to make Bane.
It made him very angry.
It made him very angry. Where he
who was that guy at the end? Because I've seen him before. That he says... The guy he's beating the crap out of.
He's at the funeral.
That same guy?
I'm pretty sure that's the guy. It's like, hey, don't I recognize you? And he's like saying stuff to Bruce Wayne. It's like, all these,
Maybe it is him.
All these, privileged people should die, or blah, blah, blah. Like, he's saying that. There's, I think, a couple of guys there at the funeral that are Riddler guys.
Because I thought it was a different actor. I thought it was somebody I've seen in other stuff.
Well, I might have seen him in other stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that's at the funeral.
Okay.
Which the funeral scene was great, too.
Yeah.
And the fact... This is the other thing that it's kind of movie logic. Batman gets blown up, and nobody just takes off the mask, automatically.
No.
No. But I did like that scene at the police station where they're like... they're just like... They don't like him. Gordon's the only one who vouches for him, and then Gordon's like... He's like, I'm gonna... All right, now take this key. It's like... I was just like... Jeffrey Wright kills it in this movie. I hope he plays Jim Gordon forever.
He's just Jeffrey Wright.
He's Jeffrey Wright. He's awesome. He's the Watcher. He's this guy. He's Gordon. He's Bernard from Westworld. He's amazing.
He's always the same.
Yeah, but he's always good. He's always good.
Fair.
All right, but we need to wrap it up. Last thoughts on the Batman.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely top 3. It's gonna be Batman Begins for me. I know everybody says Dark Knight number 1, but Batman Begins, then Dark Knight, then this. Maybe this might take over Dark Knight's spot.
Okay, I'd say it's probably... I don't really have, there's ones I like for different reasons, but probably... I'm trying to think. Mask of the Phantasm. Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, I didn't realize we were including animated.
Well, it was in theaters.
Chucky Saul.
Your angel of death has arrived. But yeah, that one was probably one of my favorite ones, and it does have his origins in it too. But Dark Knight, of course, and in some ways I like the Batman and this is just because it's such a weird movie, but such a fun movie, is Batman Returns. I do like the second Tim Burton movie. The first one's good in its own ways because of Jack Nicholson just kills it as the Joker, but I do like the second Batman Returns in its own way. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite Batman movies. And I people keep bringing up stuff. I was like, oh, did you see this part? This part? I'm probably like when those 45 days are up, come and that I'll probably be first day watching it again because I want to see like all those. There's these little things he throws in there. So as always, you can find us Precarious Pixels. We're on Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, and YouTube. I'm still working out a couple things on YouTube, and you can find me on the Instagrams at Tim Martinek. You can find Bob.
I'm on Twitter at Martin_Bob, right? And then
Yes.
I'm on Instagram at Bob J Martin, Marton.
And your Twitch streams.
Oh yeah, I'm Spectre316 on Twitch.
Okay, and also if you're on our YouTube channel, I'll have the links to those in the description below. So you'll have all the access to all that stuff. The Elden Ring and Bob's fun times on Call of Duty, where he likes to mess with people. And also, what's the other one that... trying to think what the other games that I've seen you play on there.
Gears of War, Overwatch.
Overwatch, I've seen you do a lot of fooling around with people on there as well.
Yeah, it's fun.
All fun. So next week we'll have some more updates, and we'll have some more Elden Ring. Any other games coming out you want to see? Play?
This week is WWE. I'm curious to see how it performs, but I'm not in a rush to play it after the last one.
Yeah, that last one I heard was not that good.
It was so bad that it caused them to take a year off, and they never do that.
Yeah, they're always cranking those things out. They're like Madden's that way.
Yeah, well, they never patched it. They released it broken.
Oof.
It's fun for watching how bad it can get, but but no, it's and then I think other than that, it's pretty quiet this week.
Okay. All right. So go watch the Batman.
Yes.
Go play Elden Ring. And check out the Obi-Wan trailer. All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.